So let's start off with my buddy. Karuna Psycho Emperor Miseria, 625, size 2, put 2 spells from your drop zone into this card's soul and pay 1 gauge. At the beginning of your final phase, if you have 4 more Omni Lord in your drop zone, just stand this card. And it can attack during the final phase. Then if you have 8 or more, it gets double attack. Penetrate, move, soul guard, obvious, Omni Lord is obvious. This card is probably my favorite in the Omni Lord deck and the reason why I built it in the first place, and it's Miseria, so yeah, they got me hooked. Now, since Omni Lords can only be used as a one-of outside of their base worlds, we're running 1 copy of 3 different Count Dawns. We have 7 Foundry Earth Lord Count Dawn, which you can pay a life to call from the drop zone at the beginning of your turn. 4/1/1. Then we have Count Dawn of Distant Days, 2/1/2, and at the end of its battle, you can return it to the hand. And then we have Constellation Omni Lord Count Dawn, 4/1/1. And at the beginning of your main phase, you can pay a gauge to put them from the drop zone into your hand. All really good forms and really great zeros for the deck. So then we have 1 copy of 5th Omni Dragon Lord Drum SD, 4/2/1, size 1. Obvious, Omni Lord is obvious. He cannot be called to the center, and he has counteract to put the top card of the deck into the soul of a monster on your field by taking 1 damage, and it's once per turn, and it has soul guard, so you can give the soul to himself or into another 2. We have Omni Lord Loyal Knight El Quixote, 2/2/2, size 1, basically a size 0, because if you have Omni Lord in the field, then he becomes a size 0. He's basically a Darrow Breck for Omni Lords by looking at the top 3 and putting an Omni Lord from your hand, and then the rest to drop. And when you link attack, it gives you 2 gauge. Gauge Excel, consistency, and it's a 0. Bruh. Yeah, you 4 of this. Then we have 1 copy of Void Omni Wicked Lord Negoballs, 6/2/3, size 2. Pay 1 gauge call cost, and when a monster on your opponent's field is destroyed, they take damage equal to that monster's size. Who likes trolling chaos? I know I do. 1 copy of 6 Omni Stormlord Variable Chord, 7/3/2, pay 2 gauge, put as many cards as you want from your hand into its soul, penetrate and soul guard. Honestly, this card is
a piece of garbage,
but I run it for aesthetics and the fact that I need more Omni Lords and I don't have maybe all the best forms at my disposal. Then we have 1 copy of 9th Omni Brave Lord Makuro and successor to Omni Makuro. This one is better for your deck.
Clearly! No debate!
But this is here for now. 5/2/5, and it has a transform cost of 1 gauge. These are both basically items. You should not call these, even if they are free to call. At the end of its battle, you can return. If you do not have any monsters, you can pay a gauge to stand it and gets a crit. And its ability can only use once per turn. And then it has a similar ability. You can have no monsters at the end of its battle when it attacked. Or you can have 4 less life, pay a gauge to stand it, and then it destroys an opponent's monster. So, yeah, this is kind of just better for your deck. But that's not to say that 9th Omni Brave Lord Makuro does not have its uses. Then we have 2 copy of 3rd Omni Waterlord Miseria.
Ew.
Now, if you have a problem with this card being here,
I'm fine with that.
I don't care.
And
It's my deck, and I get to choose what I want to run. I like my SPs, I want to put them to use, and this is where its best use is. It's an Omni Lord, so it helps with that. It's a Miseria, so it's going to help with something later. And just in general, I can do it because I want to.
fast!
2 gauge, up to 2 spells for you to drop into its soul. Double attack, soul guard, lifelink 2. Not a bad card by itself. The lifelink 2 does hold it back, but not a shit card by any means. Already talked about the buddies. So Omni Lord Elder Tenmu, 6/3/6, 2 gauge, and when it enters the field, nullify all the abilities of a monster and destroy it. It's just a nice answer for anything that can be really annoying with its abilities or something like that. Just, all gone. Then we have 8th Omni Deity Lord Grangadez. 10/2/5, size 3, 4 gauge call cost, and he gets his soul. On enter, he gets 3 soul at least.
3 of them things?
Move, double attack, soul guard, and lifelink 3. Grangadez.
You suck!
A lot!
But you have use because of cards I run, so... Then we have 2nd Omni Demon Lord Asmodai and Dog Demon Lord Asmodai. 50k power, 3 crit, 10k defense for both of them. Size 3 for both of them. 2 gauge call cost for both of them. And lifelink 2 for both of them. But they have completely different abilities. He has penetrate and counterattack, and he has the ability, if he will leave the field, you can discard 2 cards, pay a gauge, and he can stay on the field. Honestly, a really terrible soul guard, but it's got some merit. And then the much better effect of Dog Demon Lord. When he's destroyed, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck, put 1 card from among them into your hand, and then the rest go to drop zone, and I guess move.
What?
For some reasons. Then we have the 3 best Burn Novas that anyone could probably run in an Omni Lord deck. 4th Omni Fire Lord Burn Nova, Full Blast Omni Lord Burn Nova, and Fiery Emperor of Manliness Burn Nova. All 928 size 3s, with decently varied effects. We have the original, which literally saves you from losing the game if you would hit 0. Your life becomes 1, you pay 3 gauge, when he enters the field, get rid of your hand, get rid of your field. But at least when you use his call cost, you cannot be dealt damage for the rest of the turn, and he cannot be destroyed during that same turn. So, yay! 1 card saves you, hopefully. Then we have Full Blast Omni Lord, which is top deck soul guard, with 3 gauge call cost, and when he has the Raging Spirit effect, when your opponent's card would attack, it's redirected to him instead, and he has lifelink 3. And then we have Emperor Manliness, where you has a 2 gauge call cost, and then you can counter call him during your opponent's turn, so you gain 3 life if you are 5 or less life, and they all have triple attack. So then we have Miseria's new form, Ice Dragon of Rebirth, Roy Miseria, 20k power, 2 critical, 10k defense. He's 2 gauge and top deck soul, and you can only be called when Miseria is destroyed. And he has the counteract to put Honor Lords from your drop zone into the bottom of your deck, and then he gets to stand. He has obviously Omni Lord keyword, double attack, penetrate, soul guard, and lifelink 5. Man, that lifelink can be annoying, but I have ways around it. And just in general, I plan to kill someone with this card, so I don't really care about that lifelink so much. 2 copies of the Golden Treasure Box, you can only cast it at 6 or less life. When you send the top card of your deck, if it's a monster, you draw equal to its size. You don't mill countdowns.
What's that?
And if it's not, then you get a gauge in a draw. You can only cast 1 Golden Treasure Box per turn. Obvious mill size 3 to draw 3 is amazing. 2 copy of Dragon Blessing, you can only cast this card during your opponent's turn. Cast cost to pay 1 gauge, and counter nullify the lifelink of all monsters on your field, and then put as many as you want from your field into your hand. This is honestly great to deal with a lot of the Omni Lords having lifelink, and it helps you bounce back Quixote, so you can reuse their abilities to get more Omnis in drop or more to your hand. And just in general, dealing with the lifelink is just honestly a great part of this card. Then we have 3 copies of Reset Button. If you have 1 or more gauge, you put it into the deck, and then shuffle your deck, and then you get 4 gauge. It's simple enough, you can only cast it once per turn. It's a great gauge game for the deck. It's basically a Hyper Energy, but bootleg. We have 3 copies of Unfreezing, pay a life, and then look at the top 3, put a card among them into your hand, rest go to the bottom of your deck, and it is once per turn. Simple enough. 4 copies of Basic Nullify, Divine Protection of Shell Sign. Pay 1 gauge, nullify attack during your opponent's turn, and gain 1 life. And then the card is ruining all the people that wanted to make this deck budget.
Yup.
I'm sorry that this card is always in every one of my dungeon decks, and it's always at 4. Hey, but don't blame me. Blame Bushy.
Shouldn't have made it so good.
In any case, bonus quest, you discard a size 2 or greater monster from your hand. Top deck 2 gauge, 1 life, and 2 draws. Bonus quest is once per turn. Obviously, this card is really great, and that's why you must run it, because it does so much wonder for the Omni Lord deck, setting up your drop zone and giving rid of dead cards. And drawing. Remember, drawing is good. We have 4 copies of Emblem of the Omni. You can use it in all flags, hence why you can see this here. I don't know why it's not just generic, but hey, let's be bushy. It has a cast cost to pay 2 gauge. You can choose 1 of the 2 following effects. I'm sorry, choose 1 effect, because if you use that second one, you are dead to me.
Wait.
You can search up to 1 monster with the Omni Lord keyword from your deck into your hand. Shuffle your deck. And then the second ability, counter. Rest a size 2 or less monster on your opponent's view, but you can rest bots.
Shut up.
I don't care. That effect is trash. It doesn't hit all sizes, and it costs 2 whole gauge. Then, for the only merit of it being an Omni Lord, and hence why I want to use it, we have Unparalleled Arts, Omni Lord, Infinity Burst. You can only cast if you have an Onlord in your field, destroy a monster on your opponent's field, and then you can put an Onlord from your drop zone to the bottom of your deck, and then return discard to your hand. So spam it to kill monsters if they aren't immune to effect destruction. So it's a not terrible card. Obviously, for some relevant decks right now, you could maybe, like, I don't know, kill Ozzy against Einer's Y. Then you can, or you could kill Yamigeto, so you can be anime as hell. Anyway, hope you guys like this video. Subscribe to me for more Buddyfight content. I'll see you guys later. Jim from TBI Infinitey going out.